Good hump day, everybody. It's Wednesday. It's 5:20 where I'm at. And welcome to this new episode of 4K for you. I'm here with my buddy Valliant Renegade. How you doing?
I'm good, and good to be back. 2022 live at 5 for the first time this year, talking a little bit of 4K.
That's right. And anybody who has a radio voice fetish, this is the place to be right now. Yeah, we got some interesting news, even though we had a shit ton of news last week, as far as news and rumors, as far as upcoming. There's even more this week. So get ready, kids. That's the main news, as you noticed maybe from the thumb. Unsurprisingly, we may get some Snake Plissken this year. So we'll get into all that and all that business. But let's say hello to everybody. First, we got Hamdinger in the house. We got SXHBK, if I could talk, coffee lovers here. We got Morgan King. Thank you for being a member. Seika is here, if I'm saying that right. Beep Bop Boop is here. Todd Tyler is here. Dr. Smith X is here. KR Nut is here. Dragon Master 360 is here. And Duck Nation as well. Thank you for being a member. And so many more. Welcome to the show. Michael Miller's here. Thank you, Charles Thomas, for being here as well. Hit that like button. Hit the share so everybody knows we're live. I'm not so sure if the algorithm is going to be with us today since we just got done being live less than an hour ago. Valiant Renegade's like, hey, are we doing a show today? I'm like, shit.
Yeah, 5 o'clock rolled around. I'm like, StreamYard link.
Yeah.
That's usually right when I walk in the door at my house. So it's always, yeah.
No, keep me on the ball.
I know you had a long show today. I'm sorry I missed it at work. I was on the phone all day, but it seems like y'all had a good show.
And we got Shakespeare, it looks like from New York, representing. How you doing? We got Experiment 626 Beep Bop Boop Bop Beep. Get that right. Awesome. So how was your weekend, Valiant?
It was good. Took the weekend off, more or less. Kind of went up to my friend's house, what we call the farm, place I grew up on the weekends. You know, it's like a farm. You got cows, tractors, all kind of fun stuff, and lots of property. Renegade Jr. loves to go up there because we've got a pretty big fishing pond up there. So he walks about 50 acres to the east and heads out there from the house and comes back later when he's finished. It gets him off the computer, blew up some fireworks, shot some firearms, and just, kind of goofed off for a couple of days. So, yeah, I think until I put the video out with Cameron yesterday, I don't think I'd done 2 videos on YouTube in the last 2 weeks, just with all the holiday stuff.
Yeah, I hear you. And we got John Platt here as well. Experiment 66 says, was that the Chicago mayor on this time? No, that's the guy from Escape from New York. But I can see the reason why you would be confused. So I can understand this. Bebop Boop sends in £4.49. Says, at this point in time, if you had to make a prediction, what will be the best and worst movie of 2022? Thanks for getting me through last year, Tom. Well, thank you, Bebop Boop, for listening. Valiant, what do you think is going to be the best and worst movie of 2022 so far? I don't even know what the hell's coming out.
I know some of the stuff coming up, so I'm talking a little out of school here. I don't know the whole slate. So much stuff got changed and pushed back in the last couple of years.
Well, I know there's like Top Gun 2.
That's the one I was thinking of. You got Maverick, of course. You've got some Marvel fare coming, like
some
Doctor
Marvel
Strange
films,
2.
plenty of Marvel films. There is like a new superhero movie almost like every month.
Yeah, Morbius. Didn't they push that back again a little bit?
Just to April, but yeah.
I think they wanted to give Spider-Man a little bit more room.
Yeah, and that's
honestly,
not a bad
I'd have
idea.
to look at the slate and get back to you guys on that one. I'll pull it up see if it jumps out at me.
I'm kind of looking forward to like the Jurassic World film, if they can put that back on course.
Yeah,
interested to see what Scream does. Halloween. As far as the worst movie of the year, it's going to be hard probably to be able to top things like Flash, unless that manages to pull off some kind of miracle. Sonic 2 could be fun. Just kind of looking at what's coming out. Let's see here. I was kind of interested in seeing what Robert Zemeckis does with Pinocchio. I mean, I've not been a fan of a lot of those kind of updated films, but he's an interesting cat, so we'll see. And Pinocchio has always been my favorite Disney films. So, and of course, there's like Black Adam and Doctor Strange, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I'm
There's the
scrolling through the list
Mario
now.
animated film coming, of course.
Is that supposed to be this year?
I think so. It looks
Okay, the
like it
one with
here.
Chris Pratt or Chris
Chris
Evans?
Pratt, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, out of all those, I mean, there's even supposed to be that Rescue Ranger movie and stuff too. So we'll see. The Batman and stuff like that, of course. Boy, I mean, none of these really kind of stand out as being like one that could, like, I think maybe either Doctor Strange or Thor could surprise me
Mhm.
personally. But I think in Morbius will probably be one of the better films. Um,
You got Fantastic Beasts. Finally they got the third
I'm
one
not
out.
into that shit, but yeah.
I mean, I
I
like
hope
the
people
Harry.
boycott that one over the whole Johnny Depp business, but that's just
Well, that's
me.
what I was gonna say. I wonder how much of an effect that's gonna have on it because, I really enjoyed the books and the movies, the original, but I've the Fantastic Beast stuff has not done it for me from day one at all.
So yeah, what do you think is probably gonna be the worst or best?
Yeah, I'm still looking through it. I'm in May right now. I mean, it's hard to pick, man. There's a lot of stuff. It's just so many of these things we haven't even seen trailers for yet. It's hard to judge. It's hard to tell. Um,
That's another issue, yeah.
I don't want to make a jump on that. I mean, I'm looking forward to Doctor Strange in the sense that I love the character. I enjoyed the first one a lot. I'm hoping the second one is good. It could be terrible, and which would be terribly disappointing for me. Thor, I really don't care much about one way or the other. In terms of the big stuff, Fantastic Beasts is probably going to be a skip for me.
Isn't Aquaman 2 supposed to be out this year? Or is that next year?
I think they were trying to get it out late this year. I wanna say they had a November slot. I know they got delayed because of
WB
news
has not
releases.
had good luck with their DC sequels. Like almost every one of their sequels, sans like maybe the Suicide Squad, though it flopped, it was more well received. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
BVS, the track record with like these sequels generally don't pan out
Mission
too well.
Impossible
Wonder Woman
7,
84. Oh yeah, I think Mission Impossible got pushed.
September 30th is what it shows here.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still coming out this next year or not because that's why they moved Top Gun into that spot.
Oh, okay. I thought Top Gun had already been moved into the summer.
Well, yeah, that's moved to May, which was originally Mission Impossible 7 spot. But you could be right that I don't remember when they pushed off Mission Impossible. If it was later in the year, if it was next year.
Yeah,
I can't
Halloween
remember which.
ends in October.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they do with that.
I'm with you on The Flash. I honestly I don't give 2
That one might
rats
be fun just for the
balls.
craziness of how bad it
Yeah,
is from what we've been hearing this morning. So,
I just don't care about the DCEU coming out.
yeah,
As far as the movies are concerned, I really don't care.
never know. Could be some
Yeah,
fun stuff.
Black Panther. We'll see if that actually
Yeah,
sticks to
Avatar
November.
2 probably is going to be a disappointment, I bet. Then again, it could surprise. Who knows? It's James Cameron. You never can count him out.
Yep.
Um, but no, nothing else really sticking out to me right now, looking through the list of what's coming
No,
out one way
there's a
or the
lot of
other.
untitled event, like
Well,
Warner
yeah.
Brothers event. So I mean,
Yeah.
they have the slot, but nothing's been put in it.
Yeah. So
I'm looking to Cobra Kai season 5.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
Me too, right?
Yeah. Give me more of that.
And I think after the hit it's been, that's in pretty good hands right now to
Well, I think they're done filming it.
Right? Yeah, and I think they're
It's
gonna
in post.
I think they got at least one more season already, and I think
6 is in the works, and yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say they might even get one more after that. Who knows? But thank you for that super chat that got us going. Caddyshack in 2022. I don't know about 2022, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's on the slate eventually because that's one of Warner's big sellers. I would not be surprised.
What year was that originally?
81, I want to say.
Was it 81? I thought it was a little earlier. Maybe not.
Yeah, I would have thought they would have put it out last year because I think pretty sure 81
that
or
would have
80.
been 40th anniversary. That's what I would have thought.
But we'll see. Michael Miller says Tom forgets Evil Dead Rise and check. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to either one of those, Michael. I'll be honest with you. I think they're just. Was it 80? Okay.
Yeah, I just pulled it up.
I knew it was somewhere in that region.
Yep.
Evil Dead could surprise, but then again, it sounds like a horrible idea. Texas Chainsaw, I've heard some personal inside stuff about that. I am not looking forward to it.
Why do they need to do it? I guess
it's straight to Netflix. Last I've been hearing too,
because they can probably spend $5-10 million making it. and it's,
Yeah.
you know,
And this is actually coming up in our news today. That's right. CS Hitcher 4K is happening. And that's probably a good place to jump into our news and rumors. Let's do some news first. Paramount announced that a 4K restoration of Ordinary People is on the way for March 29th. That, of course, is the, I believe Robert Redford was in the original, if I'm not mistaken.
yes,
Or whom,
I think
yeah,
so.
something like
Yeah,
that.
Robert Redford was in, because I always get that confused with Used People.
Donald Sutherland, Timothy Hutton. I don't know about, or no, wait, that was that. No, I'm getting it confused with Used People. Uh, he was in Used People. Oh no, he was the director of it. That's what it was. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right. I
We're
knew the
thinking the
movie,
right
but
thing, but in the wrong
it's been
direction.
so
Yeah.
many fucking years since I've seen that damn movie. And I knew we announced this one before, but The Apartment has a March 8th release date now from Kino. The Green Mile has been confirmed for February 22nd. In fact, I believe Best Buy already put up a pre-order for a steelbook. So looking forward to that one. That was another one of my favorite Darabont Stephen King adaptations. I don't know how much you enjoy that one. Not nearly as good as Shawshank, but
Green Mile. I loved Green Mile. No,
yeah,
but you're right. I didn't like it as much as Shawshank, but I thought Green Mile was excellent.
yeah.
I really did enjoy that movie, and it's funny, that movie was a slow burn, but it was well done. It was well paced. I really, really liked it.
And it sounds like Ordinary People's getting one of those typical Paramount releases where it's coming to Blu-ray and maybe the digital version will be 4K. So I just want to hedge that right there. Hitcher, as we said before, is getting a 4K release from Second Sight. So looking forward to that for classic horror fans. That would be the original Hitcher, of course, from 1986, starring Rutger Hauer, C. Thomas Howell, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and Jeffrey DeMunn. So looking forward to that one. Uh, let's see here. Here's a little bit of interesting news. This is not like a release news, but Venom beat Shang-Chi for home video sales.
Anybody surprised?
No, but I think it's funny.
I mean, look, this goes back to the conversation
But
that you and I have
Suicide
had about
Squad is
this.
selling strong. Suicide Squad is hanging on at number 3.
That's that's strange.
Yeah,
I mean, I understand the whole dynamic with Venom and Shang-Chi because Venom is not on a streaming service. Shang-Chi was dumped on Disney Plus, which,
there is that caveat. I forgot
you
about
know,
that.
it's just like Encanto. It's just like Eternals. Eternals is dropping on Disney Plus, I think, next week.
I think
So
so.
again, that murders all
Encanto
this
already did.
secondary
Yeah.
market. Yeah, Christmas Eve.
And then Seika said that Second Sight is killing it this year. Yes, they are. They've got some good stuff.
Mhm.
Let's see here. What else we got? We've got let's see here. Let's move on to some rumors, guys. I think now we're time for double check and make sure I get oh, there was some other news. Sorry. Some more news. We got a couple more Kubrick titles coming. The Killing and Killer's Kiss, which are very early Kubrick titles. So between that and the one we announced earlier last month, the war one, I can't remember the name of offhand. It has Douglas in it, Kirk Douglas. Somebody in the chat will remember the name. That one's coming. So basically, that means almost all of Kubrick's movies are on 4K, right? So that leads us into the rumor portion of, and one of the big rumors is Eyes Wide Shut is being prepped. So this year could be the year that we get the rest of Kubrick's films on 4K.
Well, that's
Because
good
that's pretty
news.
much all that's left is those 4 films, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to look up.
Paths of Glory. Thank you.
Ah, bingo.
Yeah. So that's coming to 4K. As are these other 2 earlier films. And now it's also been rumored that Warner is prepping Eyes Wide Shut as well. And I would not be surprised in the least because they've been pretty consistent with knocking them out there. Like it's been like every 6 months or so, it seems like, or 1 or 2 a year. It seems like they've been getting out there. Between Clockwork was the last one. Then they had Full Metal Jacket just before that, and so on and so forth, and all that. So yeah, pretty much all of them have been released now. So that'll be awesome. Then we have some rumors as well. Let's see here. Starting with The Abyss. Remember, we talked about that last week.
Mm-hmm.
Now the rumor is that's coming to 4K as well. Disney may be prepping a 4K release of Abyss, so stay tuned for that.
Well, you would think that,
Yeah. If there's
like
a
I said,
4K master, it makes sense. Yeah.
and we had the, we talked about it last week with the articles, the interviews with Cameron recently on space.com, and he seemed to indicate that, yeah, they just wrapped it up a couple of months ago, so we should be seeing it soon. So
So
fingers
hopefully
crossed.
True Lies is in the pipeline too.
Yeah, it'd be great if they tied him down to do a number of his, at least sign off on a
Well,
release
those
to
two are
let them.
Fox titles, so and they'd be
Right.
under. So I'm hoping anyway. And then I would think that they could do it. And this is the other thing is I was thinking is it perfect timing to get it out and throw in like one of those $5 movie tickets for Avatar.
Maybe.
Re-release Avatar because I don't think Avatar ever got a 4K release. Did it, guys out there?
No.
I don't think it did. I think it's only been
I'm sure that's
standard
going
and
to get a
3D
4K
Blu-ray.
release
Yeah,
with Avatar 2.
that's what I'm. Well, that or
Yeah,
they'll
yeah,
put it
yeah.
out just before to promote it, and that's what I'm thinking is they'll release The Abyss and that on 4K just before. It would
Mhm.
be nice if we get Aliens 4K. I think he supposedly oversaw one of those too, but ever since Disney got the rights to the Fox films, it's been kind of like, see, Fox was even leery at first when they still owned their own movies, when they were their own company, I should say. Because when they released Die Hard and a few of these other movies, they released those to see how well they would sell before they would release the others. Because all the Die Hard films have been mastered in 4K. I have them all digitally in 4K, but
Mhm.
only the first one has been released on disc. And at that time, they were releasing it just to see how sales would do. And then in the midst of all that, they were bought out by Disney. And since then, I'm like, fuck, we ain't going to get any more of the Die Hard movies probably on 4K. We were lucky to get the Predator movies on 4K because that happened before Disney bought them. And I think they were in the midst of trying to get Alien done. The only thing holding it back was Aliens because Alien had come out. They didn't do Aliens yet. And I'm sure that they don't see any reason in putting Alien 3 and 4 out on 4K if they can't put Aliens out. It makes no sense. Like,
No.
who the fuck's going to buy it? Right. So, again,
No.
that's where I think that's sitting at, but we'll see here. And then Gladiator says, Tom, why did you get kicked off FNT? You were a founding member, and we fans want you back on the show. It's wrong. I wasn't kicked off. I'm just, I'm just kind of a backup, and whenever they need me, they'll give me a call. Just the way it is, they're shifting things around and doing things, and there's only so much room, and it is what it is, and especially if I have something to add, I'm sure they'll bring me on. But I'm hoping to get the call sometime soon here. So no worries there. There's no, I wasn't fired or anything like that I know of. So no. In fact,
Everybody
I just
thinks
talked to Gary
everything is a
recently.
drama
So
moment. I don't know why.
nah, it's just and Gary let me know that it was going to be kind of more like that. And I already was kind of backup for when Odin would take off at 7 o'clock was kind of where I was brought in the first place. So, and
Mhm.
again, I'm not really here to get into all that business right now, but oh yeah, it would be nice to see Piranha 2 in 4K too, but I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. But this is true, Doug Nation. Disney is pretty anti-physical, and that's kind of interesting you bring that up because that brings me to my next rumor of a title that's coming out. And actually, I think this is heavier than a rumor. We just don't know who's releasing it yet. And that is Rainforest, the Fern Gully movie, because
Mm.
that's a Fox title. And so far, Disney has not released a whole hell of a lot of Fox titles in general. And people have been curious how they were going to handle a lot of the family titles coming up here. So I don't know if this is when they've lent out to like Kino or somebody like that. But looks like Fern Gully, if you're a fan of the Robin Williams voiced Fox film from, I think it came out, what, 91, 92, somewhere in
It's
there.
been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that looks like it's coming. In other news, we've got Das Boot, the Wolfgang Peterson film. That one looks like it's getting prepped for 4K. Constantine from Keanu Reeves. That one's been one that's been heavily rumored for a while, and it sounds like that's entering beyond the rumor phase, if that makes sense.
Which is good. I mean, they need to keep churning out these titles. I mean, I wasn't a huge Constantine fan, but it was all right. It was passable as far as I was concerned. It was kind of
Yeah.
fun in some respects, but Das Boot, that's what I want in 4K.
Interesting one,
I
right?
loved that movie.
I remember watching that in German class in high school.
Yeah, I mean, I watch it in German with the subtitles on.
They
Guys,
made us, yeah.
yeah, that's how I watch it every time. I want Jurgen Prochnow sounding like Jurgen Prochnow, so
Yeah.
great film.
And
And
then
give me the
Charles,
director's cut that's like 4 hours long.
I
That's
think
the one
that's
I
what it
want.
is too. I'm
Yeah.
sure. Charles Thomas says he wants a Happy Gilmore in 4K. Well, we all want things, Charles. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking with you. That one's, I'm sure, low on the list of
It
Universal's
is. And if they
worries.
do it, that's more likely you're just going to get a quick up
Way down
convert.
the line,
Yeah.
yeah. Then we had another super chat flying here. The Intern of War says, "What collector's edition next year would you love to see for a rumored title?" Nightmare on Elm Street. Although the rumors seem to be dead ends, that movie does have a 4K Dolby Atmos master now, at least the first one we know of.
Mm-hmm.
But that was also because I believe because it was inducted into the film registry this year. So, and I think it has more to do with that. We'll see what happens. I don't think it'll get a massive special edition from Scream and Shout Factory like some people were rumoring, because every time I check with my people, they say that's not happening. Warner has it very close to the chest, and they don't want to let anybody mess with it right now. So we'll see. Otherwise, do you have any up that are coming out that we've mentioned so far? Because we do have a few more to go through yet, though.
As far as rumors, no. I mean, the only thing that popped out at me really big time this week was, some of the reviews now that the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie has dropped. The Black Curse of the
I
Black
have it,
Pearl
but I
is.
haven't checked it out yet, and I was going to bring that up here after we get through rumors and stuff. If you want to
Yeah,
hold
yeah,
that thought,
we'll hold it. Yeah, we'll get to
why
that in
don't you
just a
just
bit.
remember to remind me, because I
Will
will
do.
forget otherwise.
Mm-hmm. No problem.
Three Amigos in 4K. That'd be an interesting title, but it doesn't sound like we're getting that. What we are getting, though, most likely, and this is one that's not a surprise, and on the thumbnail, Escape from New York, which has already been released by Studio Canal overseas. I think it's a good bet that Shout, Scream Factory, whatever, is going to release that over here, which will be nice because Paramount is also dropping Escape from LA. So that means we should have both Escape films in 4K this year. I don't know if that excites you at all, Valiant.
Yeah.
I, of course, already have the first one on 4K Blu-ray, and I will say it's not a huge upgrade. I hope Scream and Shout Factory does a new scan and they maybe try to lighten it up a little bit, because it's a dark film, and the 4K
It was
didn't
always a
really.
dark film, but
Yeah, the 4K scan didn't really do a bit, because I checked it side by side with the Scream Factory and the MGM disc I had,
mhm.
and you can tell only very little difference between all three.
Oh, well,
Like,
that's a shame.
yeah, it's never, well, it's just because it's never been a film that, hey, it's always dark. It's a dark film. I mean,
Yeah.
there's hardly any of it shot in the light, and it's just
Well, there may not be any shadow detail there to
there's really not.
lift.
It's pretty
You know,
kind of
if the way Carpenter shot it,
stylized, and
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, if the shadows were crushed and gone, if they zeroed out
No,
in the
luckily
original
it's
film
always gotten
negative.
pretty good treatment on Blu-ray. I think that's the
Mhm,
point, is that the Blu-rays have always looked so good that we've gotten out of it, that the 4K to me just wasn't a huge, massive upgrade, right?
mhm.
Like especially that, I mean, there was a big difference between the original MGM release and the Scream one. And basically what I'm saying is the 4K one I have now is not that big of a jump from the Scream Factory one, which I think that was from the same 4K scan anyway.
Well, then that would have done it.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying. So at
yeah.
this point, don't anybody go out there expecting to get some like massive leap if you already have that Scream Factory disc,
Mhm,
especially because you're just gonna be like, yeah, this don't look that much better, because the really, yeah, that's really all it is. The HDR helped with the blacks. Really,
mhm,
that's all it is. Because like the Scream Factory one, I noticed a lot of the blacks turned more gray in the Blu-ray. Like you get a lot of gray, and you see a lot more of the static, or the. It's not so much grain as it is static, or whatever I like to call it. It's that white stuff you get, kind of. But then in
mhm.
the 4K, that's just more dense. So that's really the big exception there. Now, Escape from LA is a mixed bag. Most of the main film looks amazing in 4K. The CGI stuff, not so much. Like that shit sticks out like a sore thumb.
Well, that's what I was
So
gonna
so
say.
get ready
Yeah,
for that disc, folks. And that's an oddball. I can't believe that Paramount is releasing that one in 4K. I can't imagine that's that big of a seller, but I guess it must be.
they might have already done it when they did New York, and
Well,
they've
yeah,
just been sitting
like I
on it.
said, I've had the 4K digital version of it for a
Mhm.
while now. So they
Yeah.
did this scan a while back.
Yeah, and that's just it. I think that's the big issue with it is they just been sitting on it
Well,
and sitting on it, and now it's like, okay,
that
we'll put
actually
it out.
gets us to our next set of rumors here, because I think this is kind of what's going on. Is a lot of these directors themselves are generally going back and just scanning all their films, and then it's whoever the benefiting studios are. There's probably some kind of conglomeration going on, because there was 3 big announcements we got this last week as far as rumors, but we don't know where they're coming from exactly, because I don't know if you're a Monty Python fan, Valiant,
I
but it
am.
was rumored that, heavily rumored, I should say, almost confirmed, that we're getting Holy Grail, Life of Brian, and Meaning of
Meaning
Life
of
this
Life,
year on
the Holy
4K.
Trinity. Yeah.
Now, the problem with that is all 3 of those films are owned by completely different companies. Sony had the rights, as last I knew, to Holy Grail in the US. Brian was independent, and Meaning of Life is owned by Universal. So unless Kino or somebody like that is getting together to do some kind of box set and they manage to grab the rights for all these, I'm assuming they're just going to be separate releases. So that's what I was saying, is I think John Carpenter went back and he already scanned all his movies. Same thing with, we know Scorsese has done a bunch of his. We know Coppola has done all of his. We know George Lucas has done all of his. So that's what it's kind of seeming like, and we've gotten a buttload of Spielberg ones. So the same thing, I think he's done all his. You ever notice it's Kubrick? His has all been done.
Yeah.
So I think they're kind of going by director almost more so anymore, it feels like. So I would not be surprised in the least, because we're almost done with John Carpenter's films on 4K. Most of his movies have been released. We're down to like Starman and some of the lesser known shit.
Yeah, even if they're not independently available yet. I mean, 'cause
Yeah.
like the UK box sets, you know,
Yeah.
they put out They Live, but you still don't have The Fog, I think, and maybe Prince of Darkness came out
Yeah, The Fog is
separately.
still coming, I think, and that's another
Yeah,
one I think rumored for this year. But I'm sure it's coming from Scream. I think I already saw the box art for it.
yeah.
And Starman is the one I want, 270s. That's the one I really want.
It's been ages since I've seen
And
that.
Tarantino, just like we brought up last week, all of his films, but I'm kind of leery on that. And that kind of, I guess, before we get back to rumors, let's talk about the Pirates thing, because this is the problem with some of these.
Yeah.
I heard the Pirates of the Caribbean 4K looks like dog shit. I have not seen it yet. I have it sitting on my counter. I just got it the other day.
It is,
and
one
I
of
heard
the
it's just an
lowest.
upconvert.
Yeah, it is one of the lowest scores I have ever seen on a Blu-ray or a 4K disc from Blu-ray.com. It is a 2.0 out of 5. It is, they brutalized it.
This is
I
what I
mean,
was warning about, though, because most of the movie is full of CGI shit.
well, it's not just that. It's what I'm gonna, the first line in the 4K video portion of the disc review is, Disney, what happened? I mean, I could say that about a lot
I'll tell
of
you
things
what
for
happened.
Disney
They just
this year.
upconverted their 2KI.
Yeah, and that's what he's looking at. He says the studio's 4K UHD release shows all the telltale signs of gross processing and looks like it should have been released a decade or more ago.
And that's my point, is this scan was probably from the original 2K scan.
Mm-hmm.
They never went back to rescan any of the film, and they probably can't. And that's what I'm trying to say, is most of this movie has so much CGI in it that they were probably like, it makes no sense to scan it. We'll just upconvert it.
And it looks like that's all they've done is the grain. They have a huge amount of DNR, digital noise reduction.
Somebody told me it's worse than T2.
I saw a review today on YouTube from a YouTuber that reviews nothing but 4K stuff, and decent sized channel he's got.
Yeah, and if any of you guys listen, I actually comment and watch a lot of the 4K guys. If you guys ever listen, feel free to reach out to me and you want to come on. We'll gladly have you on. But anyway, go ahead, Valiant.
Yeah, no, that was it. I was just going to say, he said the same thing. He's like, he's putting it up there with T2 as one of the worst things he's seen on 4K.
But yeah, like I check out Serial
bad.
at Midnight and Films at Home and all those guys. And yeah, if any of you guys ever listening, feel free to hit us up. We'll definitely try to work something out for the future. But no, like, oh man, I heard that and I'm like, yep, I knew it. I had a fucking feeling and I'm not surprised. And I think we're going to get a lot of these. And this is going to happen with these movies that are in that time period where they were flipping over to not just digital filming so much, but digital editing.
Right.
Because that means they're going to have to go back and re-edit these movies if they truly want to scan them and do them correctly in 4K. That is going to be a problem. And I think that is where some of these movies, we've been getting so many issues with them. But now when it comes to Inglourious Bastards, I'm not sure what the fucking excuse is, because that movie should have a negative master, because I know there's no damn way in hell Tarantino only did that movie in digital only.
Oh, no. No,
no way.
They have something, and even if he did, he would have the original raw footage still
exactly
on a red drive. Or
in fact, he just did, I can't remember.
He's
He's doing a screening this month of his his 35 millimeter print of Death Proof.
Okay.
So I know he has all this stuff, so I'm sure he does. And I know I see some of you guys are talking about Highlander. That's still heavily rumored. I don't know what's holding it up right now, but it's still supposed to be in the pipeline. So hopefully that'll come up really soon. I'm gonna get through the rest of these super chats. We'll get to the super chats in a moment. I was trying to say what I was going to get back to is these rumors. Since Valiant had to step offline for a second.
I had to fix a mic cable.
Oh, that's all right. Edge of
right
Tomorrow is one that I'm sure some of you guys have heard about already. That's being rumored. And as I mentioned before, Scorsese doing all his films. Hugo is the next one in line. For those who may be curious about that. Chippendale Rescue Rangers is coming to Blu-ray. Now, this is funky because I think I brought this up last week too, but I kind of like this. I like seeing a lot of these classic shows because a lot of them are never going to get 4K releases, right? So it's nice to see that. And speaking of Scorsese, The Aviator is also heavily rumored as well. And that it seems to be the big bulk of the rumors for right now. Unless there was anything I missed that you can think of offhand, Valiant. I think that was everything. I didn't make a list this week, sadly. I wish I had. I normally
I think
do.
you covered. If you didn't get it all, you didn't miss much of anything.
I'm sure somebody in the chat will remind me if not. Because I know we brought up like The Last Waltz and things like that. And I think we mentioned High Plains Drifter before. Tinker Tailor Soldier, that was another one, but I think we mentioned that one already. So yeah, I think we've got pretty much everything covered. Oh, there was one thing I did want to address. I did mention before when we talked about the Punisher and the Requiem for a Dream steelbooks that were coming out. The Requiem for a Dream that I have already on 4K is the director's cut, so I'm assuming they're just complete the same thing. They're just releasing them in a steelbook only. So for those who are curious on that, that's all I had to address, I think. Then Christian Corleo is here and he says, any chance of getting Titan AE on 4K? That
somebody asked about that a few weeks ago.
It's never even gotten a Blu-ray title.
No, it hasn't had anything since DVD.
And that's under Fox now, unfortunately. So chances are slimmer than they were before. I don't know if we'll ever get a 4K release anyway, because I think that was a movie that, even though it has some traditionally done animation in it, it was all done, put together in the computer. So it's all probably a 2K master from beginning to end, I'd imagine. Because like all the backgrounds and stuff are done with CGI and all that business.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that movie. It needs a release. Like that is a very underrated film.
I completely agree. I mean, like I said, I still have a DVD copy because that's, if I want to watch it, that's all there is. I don't even know if it's on digital or PVD.
That's a good question.
I've never really tried to look it up, I guess.
But again, I'm not so sure that if they could ever even do a 4K release because of the way it was constructed.
Mm-hmm.
But a Blu-ray I'd be more than happy with, and there's got to be at least that.
Oh, Blu-ray would be a substantial upgrade to what's out there now.
Definitely. So we can fingers crossed on that, but considering we're just getting Fern Gully, maybe I'd put a big maybe on it. It's not one of the more. It didn't do that well in the box office. Like Fern Gully did well in the box office. I'm sure if they start releasing any of these classic Fox titles, animated Fox titles, they're going to stick with the bigger ones first, like Fern Gully, Anastasia. What else are some of the bigger Fox ones? I can't even think anymore. It's been so many years. There's that patch where I was a young adult and I didn't have a kid, so I didn't pay attention. But yeah, any of that shit is a plausibility as long as it was a big seller on video. But stuff like Titan AE and that kind of stuff that didn't do so well in the box office, I don't know. Since it never even got a Blu-ray release through Fox, the DVD must not have even sold that well, I'm imagining. So
yeah, it's just one of those movies. It didn't get a lot of push behind it, but the cast was great.
And I think it cost a ton to make too, was the other problem.
Yeah, they probably spent Disney level money and it wasn't a Disney film. So
well, it was in that strange period when they were going between CGI animated and 2D animation. So yeah. Mitch Thibault is here and says, recently purchased and returned a Sony X700 player for seeing how much it tended to freeze while playing discs or streaming. Any recommendations for a player? Oh, wow. I don't have that problem. That sounds like I would have just swapped it out for another one. But otherwise, I've heard the Panasonic and the Philips are pretty good. Panasonic one I think is in the same range. LG has a nice one out there too. I don't remember the exact numbers offhand. Do you have any offhand that you can recommend with numbers?
No, I mean they're all really. I don't think there's a bad one out there if you're looking in that $100 to $200 price range, which is
The
really
problem
where
is there
you want
just
to be.
isn't that many, right?
No, there's
Like
not. I'd almost suggest to people, and I mean, unless you have like a really cheap television set, sometimes it's easy just to get the brand that matches your TV for remote simplicity. That being said, if you don't care about that, then yeah, I think really Panasonic still makes, I think, for the money, some of the very best optical players out there. So I'd suggest looking at a Panasonic. I'd give another Sony a chance. I think you might have just gotten a bum one. It sounds like you either
sounds
have,
like to me.
yeah, your transport mechanism, which is what the laser sits on that actually moves and reads the disc. Either that's bad, the optical pickup's bad, and that's just a factory goof, or the buffer is bad in there as it reads the disc, and it's just the buffer. There's something wrong. I just
Yeah.
think you have a bum unit. You know.
Yeah, because all the problems I've ran into have been like stuff that can be easily addressed. It's not like
Mhm.
even factory issue is a update issue, and I would actually use the streaming side of that because I actually prefer the look of it off the Sony, but for some reason they need an update at some point to fix the sound because
Mhm.
that's just a personal thing. Because I have a Dolby Atmos system, and for right now, for some reason, for some of the streaming apps, they don't have a 5.1 or Dolby Atmos pass through. So until that's the only reason to stop me now. And I use the Xbox, but I actually have more issues with the Xbox. Like I have a constant issue with the sound on the Xbox. So that could just be my setup as well. So that's why I don't like. I'm with Valliant on that. I would either try and swap it out for a new one just to try it, and if that doesn't work, otherwise I'd look for the Philips one that's in the equivalent price range. I can't think of the model number right now offhand, but maybe we'll try and get that for you here before the end of the show. Mikey Gussler is here and says, I heard that the 4K oh, here we go. Transfer
Yep.
of Pirates of the Caribbean 1 is bad. Do you guys have any thoughts on this? Hope they fix it soon. They're not going to fix it, Mikey.
No,
They're not going
it'll
to
be
fix it,
many,
man.
many, many years from now, and
Sorry.
if they release the second and third one, they're going to look just as bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talked about this. Probably maybe I don't know when you sent that super chat, but we
It
kind
was
of
probably
mentioned this
just before we
briefly.
started, I'd imagine. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and that's okay. So hopefully you caught the conversation. If not, rewind it just maybe about 10, 15
But yeah, to
minutes. But
shorten it up, I'm pretty sure that they only have a 2K inner positive for that, and they're not going to go back and reconstruct it the way they'd have to. Same thing
mhm.
for the second and third film.
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean
the
in this
fourth film
case,
already has a 4K release, doesn't it?
yes, I think so. Or the fifth one. Was
Both
it?
of them, I think, do either
Both
that
of them
or,
probably
but
do.
yeah,
Yeah, well, because those were filmed on
newer.
digital cameras,
Yeah,
to my understanding. But yeah, I mean, the at this point, basically, the gist of it is this: the Blu-ray version you will probably be happier with than the 4K version of this film.
I
Sad to
regret
say.
spending the $22 I spent on it. It's been sitting in
Mhm,
plastic on my table since before I got it, and if I'd have known, I would have canceled it like I did in Glorious Bastards.
mhm.
Because not only if I really, really, really even wanted it that bad for reference, I'm better off just waiting because I bet the son bitch will be cheaper than shit in a few months. Because I
Yeah.
think I've seen Glorious Bastards already dip in price, and I'm just like, I'm still not picking it up because I've heard the Blu-ray's better. So why should I? I'm
Yeah.
sick of getting burnt by these movies when they do this. That's
Yeah.
the thing is unless you can almost guarantee it's an older film, and again, we stress, there's websites out there, there's Blu-ray.com, there's other places you can go that
Mhm,
will tell you whether or not they're true 4K masters or not. And that's the best thing we can tell you as far as the first step to deciding whether or not you're going to upgrade on some of these films.
mhm,
There are some 2K upgrades that do look all right, but that's where you got to go with the reviews, like Valiant was saying, is really dig, especially if you're somebody who doesn't have the money to invest in a lot of films. It's understandable. Like you only got so much money to go around. You want to make sure the movies you spend it on, it's worth it. So I totally understand that as well. So and that's
mhm.
what we try to do our best to let you guys know. Mikey Gussler says, is there any rumors about regarding the Lord of the Rings set, including the third longer cuts of the films and Harry Potter set with longer cuts? On the latter, I have not heard anything about that. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Warner doesn't pull that since they haven't already. The Lord of the Rings thing has pissed a lot of fans off. Peter Jackson has promised and promised and promised and promised new shit for so long, and he keeps re-releasing the same stuff over and over again. We've even had Robert Meyer Burnett himself tell us that he knows for a fact that there's shit tons of footage that he has himself because he shot it personally and stuff that has never been used, as far as like behind the scenes and all that stuff. So, yeah, there's plenty of stuff out there. I don't know why Warner Brothers just consistently decides we're just going to keep releasing the same shit over and over. In fact, I heard this last release, they don't even have all the same shit they did before. I heard it's even missing some shit.
Yeah, the 4K versions that I got.
Well, the 4K versions have nothing on the discs at all, from what I know, just the movie.
Right, it's the movies. So yeah, if you want the
commentary.
extras, you got to keep your Blu-rays, which I did. Yeah, now they release like this big
And
giant.
basically, that's what that is just
Middle Earth.
basically the 4K discs mixed in with the old Blu-rays of the extended cuts, and I think the theatrical cuts is all it is.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's it. And they keep doing it because people keep buying them. And as long as people keep buying them, they'll keep releasing them just as they are.
Well, and he and Warner Brothers pissed people off when they did that massive one that Gary always has behind him on Gary of Nerdrotic. That one that was like $500 some fucking dollars, and there was nothing new in it. It was just to look fancy, is all it was. So you basically paid a buttload of money for a fancy case. So that's what he did when he bought the 4K ones. He just threw his 4K discs in that set. And I'm like, yeah, it's the best way to do it. You didn't get nothing new in this big, massive one. Anytime soon, no. If they were going to do it, it was going to be now when they did these 4K releases. Peter is one of those where maybe when he's done with all his 4K releases, because he's another one we've rumored and talked about already, and it's more than a rumor now. He's pretty much confirmed that he's got 4K masters of all his classic films ready to go, including Brain Dead, Meet the Feebles, the hell, I can't remember all the other titles. Frighteners is another one that's been talked about, but there's a couple in the middle there that I'm missing. Heavenly Creatures and the other 2 or 3 or whatever. But like, yeah, so all those are coming. Maybe when he's done with all that stuff and he's bored and he's got nothing else to do. But
well, I think Jesse's got a scoop on something. He says Peter Jackson's reshooting bonus footage in the backyard to make another release.
In his basement?
You might not be wrong.
With
Jesse.
Miniatures?
Yeah.
I wanted to tell a different kind of story this time. Yeah, I can't do it. Peter Jackson. I haven't listened to him in a while. Lord of the Rings. It was amazing. Oh, we got George in the chat too. Hey, George. Hey, Jesse. How you guys doing? Mikey sends in another $5 super chat and says, will the Punisher 4K come out with the extended cut? So far, it's only available on DVD. Well, again, sorry if you sent this before I answered this question already. But yeah, it appears that no, it is not the extended cut. Again, sad to say, it's not there. It's just a theatrical. It's just a re-release of the same 4K we got before. So unless you want the cool steelbook, yeah. So far, the extended cut is only on DVD and seems to be the way it will remain for a while. I'm trying to remember the big differences between that and the other version. I'm not even sure if I still have that DVD or not. I should somewhere, but I think I tossed it at some point. Well, I tossed it, but I gave it away or something without realizing. I thought the Blu-ray I had both versions. And I realized it didn't. Yeah. Glinzer says James Cameron is holding the Abyss and True Lies hostage. Blu-ray needed for the. Well, we actually seem to be getting there, Glinzer. I don't know if you missed the first part of the show, but we reported last week there is some movement on the Abyss at least. James Cameron himself actually confirmed that. Mm-hmm. And now we're getting rumors, heavy rumors that Disney is prepping it for a 4K release.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Valliant and I kind of both, I think, agreed that we'll see it in the last quarter of this year to correspond with Avatar 2, probably.
Yeah. Well, they might release that sooner. I mean, they could, and then just release Avatar in 4K around November or whatever.
Well, we've been waiting for the Heat from Disney forever.
Well,
or Heat, not the Heat. Sorry.
Yeah,
Heat.
no, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But I mean, just in time with Avatar, I mean, there's things they could do with his stuff to tie into the movies. And
that's what I'm saying. I see it more like one of those things. Yeah. Hell, they might even let him put like an advertisement in the behind the scenes featurette on the disc and shit for all we know. But yeah. So yeah, Other than that, was there any other like news or rumors or anything you watched recently that you wanted to
No, I think
talk
you covered
about?
a good bit of it, and like I said, I just the one big dick punch this week was that Pirates of the Caribbean thing. When I saw
Yeah.
that, because I was waiting for it, the review came out over the weekend, like on
Oh
New Year's
yeah.
Eve, and I was out of town all weekend, so I just saw it, I think yesterday, and I said, "Oh, they got it, they reviewed it," and then when I opened it and I saw that 2 out of 5 on the now it's funny because the 1080p, the Blu-ray, 5 out of 5, just
Well,
like
that used
the
to be
same
like a
Blu-ray
reference
release.
quality Blu-ray, man.
Yeah, it was. It still is. But the 4K, they gave a 2 out of 5. I mean, they savaged it. And I was so
Honestly, I want to see it
disappointed.
now. I wonder if it still get that high of a rating considering
Mhm,
because whenever I've gone back to older Blu-rays, like it's like, oh my gosh, especially after getting used to some of these 4K masters,
mhm.
it's like you realize how bad some of these older scans used to be.
Well, but they grade it based on a 1080p disc. They don't grade it
No,
against
no,
the
no, I
4K, but
get you,
yeah.
but like I'm just saying, like,
I've still watched Black Pearl, and I've watched it on my plasma high def, and I've watched it in here on the OLED that I've got, the 4K. And I look, I think it holds up. I think it looks great still for a Blu-ray. And I was really hoping to get, I mean, the 4K, I wanted it to blow me away. It didn't have to be a 5 out of 5. 4 out of 5 would have done it for me, but a 2 out of 5, holy shit, no. No, no, no.
Nathan, I think we brought this up a couple weeks ago, but we'll
It's out.
forgive you.
Yeah.
We'll forgive you if you forgot. But no, yeah, he's saying
Yeah.
Roger Rabbit looks so good. It did.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Cool World is being rumored that it has a 4K scan. I think it's either Kino or Shout that might be behind it. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Ralph Bakshi himself said that it's coming. So I don't know when, but that'll be cool when it does. Cool World's a fun film, that's for sure. It is the 30th anniversary. That is true. So I'm assuming that they're going to bring it out soon here.
Can't
I'd
believe it's
imagine it'll be a nice release from, like I said, Shout or Kino, whoever it was that picked it up. Um, let's see. Was there any questions that maybe I could grab from you guys? Uh, did you happen to get that Panasonic model just in case for
Oh, I think it's the 9,000. Let me look.
okay, yeah. Well, you got a second here. That'd be great.
Yeah, let me do that. I forgot. I was looking at something else.
So yeah, we'll check into that for you, Mitch. If you're still here listening, we'll get you the model number for that Panasonic 4K
Oh,
Blu-ray
they I'm
player.
thinking of some, I'm thinking of a different one. Yeah, okay, so you got yeah, that's the super duper high end one. Don't okay, that if you want to spend $1,200, you can get that
No,
one.
no, no, no. I was
No, I
talking
know.
about the lower end one that was
Yeah,
like
no, I'm kidding.
comparable to the
The
Sony
Panasonic, it's the DP UB 420.
DP. I'm gonna put this
UB
in the chat. UB.
Umbrella Bravo 420.
All right, there you go, buddy. Copy
Mhm.
and paste away. And thank you, 70s Rock fan, for sharing all the links and stuff. I seen you in here wrenching, and I seen a few of the other wrenches in here as well. Um, let's see here. I think we got most of those questions from before. Let me get back up to speed here. How's Paul Feig doing? Oh, I'm sure he's crying in his cereal. Yeah. And yes, Charles, as we brought up last week, The Godfather is being prepped for a March release, I think is the rumor.
I saw some other folks talking about it, I think today or yesterday. So it seems like it's coming more and more out into the open that this is a done deal.
I just can't wait to hear about the details. I hope it's got the
Mhm.
complete saga edit and some of the
Yep.
other stuff. Um, this is one I'm sure that's on the horizon at some point.
Oh man.
I think this is going to be one that Universal's just going to release as a bare bones 4K, like they did the Thing. Because Arrow put out, but then again, Arrow might turn around and pull the same thing they did with RoboCop.
If
They
they
do,
make
it'll gonna piss
$20 million
me off.
in sales from it, it'll get them a little bit closer to actually getting back into the black on that movie because they lost their
Uh,
ass on it.
no shit.
Oh.
Oh Lord. But yeah, this is gonna be a shorter show today because the earlier one ran so damn long. Um,
Yeah, Tom's already done 5 hours today, and that was like
um
45 minutes before we started.
as far as I know, Morgan, there's only been one release of the first Pirates of the all the Pirates on.
Mhm.
There's just the main releases. They just kind of reprint them if you get them in a different cover. Usually, they don't generally. Very rarely do they actually like reprint a movie. We've only seen that recently with Columbia with the Karate Kid set when they did the first film reprinted with Dolby Vision, and we're seeing it with Ghostbusters 1 and 2 when they released that box set in February. So yeah, they're going to do the same thing there, getting a Dolby Vision upgrade, but that's about it. So
Yeah, Sony has done a good job of that. Sony has done an excellent job of releasing films and doing and really treating them well. I can't say the same, at least in terms of consistency, for most other studios.
yeah.
So
I did hear a rumor that possibly the whole bloody affair was going to be on that Kill Bill Blu-ray, but I can't confirm that, of course, yet. So that'll be interesting to see. Are the Tim Burton Batman movies on 4K? Yes, they are, Storm King, but they're getting a little more harder to come by. So if you catch them on sale, I would pick them up as soon as you can because, yeah, Warner quit doing their own stuff. So I don't know how long those will be available. I got the Steelbook from Best Buy, which is still pretty high price, but I've seen the standard Blu-ray set go on sale for like $60 or cheaper on like Amazon and stuff once in a while. But yeah, I'd pick that up if you get a chance. They look pretty good. Now, some people have some issues with the sound because, like Mad Max films, they change the sound on the Atmos soundtrack, I guess. But yeah.
yeah, and guess what? Guess what? The Pirates movie also got beat up for its audio track too on the 4K.
Ouch. Why?
Yep.
They didn't do nothing to it, did they?
3 out of 5.
It's probably just the same transfer as before.
Yeah, they basically just ran it through a add Dolby Atmos button.
Did they even? Is it even a Dolby Atmos?
It allegedly is, according to Blu-ray.com, but they did not. They said the soundtrack was just when they stuck it on their reference levels and played it like it's supposed to be played, it was very lacking. Was their words.
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you,
they basically did nothing. They basically took the existing 2K DCI that they had and just hit up convert and shoved it on a disc and said it's in 4K now. And then they added more DNR apparently that made it look worse than the Blu-ray.
I don't even know why we got this release. This just seems like such a strange fucking. And then they released it on a Sunday. What the fuck is that?
I've never seen that. I mean, it's always been a Tuesday. Every movie I've ever seen come out on a Tuesday.
The fourth or fifth highest shopping day of the year is the day after New Year's or whatever, because the day after Christmas, most people go in and use their gift cards or whatever, and then a lot of people do like they go look for deals like sale shopping on the day after New Year's. So I guess I can understand them dropping a movie like that, but it's just a piss poor release. And unless you got the Pirates movie like hot on the heels to come out soon, which I don't even think they've started filming that new one yet.
Not that I'm aware.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's talks, heavy talks, and I think Margot Kidder Jesus Christ, Margot Robbie is attached to it, but I haven't heard anything else since. I just don't see the reason for this release other than they're just going to probably drop it on Disney Plus, or it already is in quote unquote 4K, but it's fake 4K. So I don't know. It's like I didn't even really notice that big of an upgrade when they did the couple of Marvel movies they put in there, but most of those are going to be 2K masters anyway. So
yeah, and like I said, that's kind of one of the problems, and that's why watch shows like this every week before you go spending money on new stuff, because we try to, as best we can, give you the information that we've gotten, whether or not it's worth it. And like I said, this Pirates movie, if you've already got the Blu-rays, I would steer clear of the 4K from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I've seen the rare Friday release Duck Nation for a sell-through title, which makes sense, but I've never heard of a Sunday. That is a first. Because a lot of, like, that's just an oddball.
I've never seen a Sunday.
I didn't even get it until Monday, of course, because the fucking mail don't run on Saturday because of New Year's. So I didn't get it till Monday. And I just threw it aside because I already knew. I had heard the reviews. I'm like, well, fuck. It's too late now. I can't send it. Well, I could send it back or take it back, but yeah. But with that, I think we've got everything kind of pretty much covered. Was there anything else you can think of? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
I didn't really watch anything in 4K this week. Not 4K anyway.
Cobra Kai.
Well, yeah, I just watched that on Netflix, but I mean, yeah.
streaming. Yeah. So, but as far
And
as
I
yeah,
already talked about the Karate Kid last week, so
yeah, extremely well done, well transferred 4K discs in that new box set. If you don't have Karate Kid, you just enjoyed Cobra Kai, thinking, man, I got to go back and watch the original movies. I haven't seen them in a while. The new 4K box set really is
it's actually
exquisite.
been on pretty good sales. So even if you do own it, like last week,
Mhm.
Amazon had it with a coupon. You could get it for like $40 or something like that, or
And
cheaper
that's
than
for the
that.
the three. It's the Larusso
Yeah,
saga.
yeah,
Let's put
yeah.
it that way. Yeah,
Any news on Dances with Wolves 4K? None
I haven't
recently,
heard
but
anything.
that's an Orion release. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point that doesn't get. That might be just waiting for.
Who's got that library now?
Um,
Can't even
well,
think.
MGM still has their own library as of yet until they
Okay.
actually sell. But oh no, Amazon owns them.
I was gonna say if
Um,
that's the case, then Amazon has the Orion library.
that puts a weird damper on things because I know that we're rumored to be getting Princess Bride on 4K, but that's an oddball one because Fox has some say in that one
hmm
and some other shit. But I think MGM has the um, home video distribution.
Didn't they do an announcement for that, or was that
I
over on the
think
rumor
so
side?
because I already have the import of that on 4K,
Let me
so there is a
see.
4K master. Um,
Don't
so I
see.
think that's coming this year.
Yeah, I swear I saw something just recently on that. I might
Normally
have
I
even
would say
talked about
like
it.
Shout or Kino or something like that would be doing Dances with Wolves, but
Mhm.
now that Amazon owns them, I have no idea. See, to me, it would make more sense for Amazon personally, and this is nothing like my choice. This is just seeing it as a business standpoint. They would probably quit releasing anything on movies and just have everything on Amazon streaming, and you wouldn't be able to
That's
get
what
those
concerns
movies.
me. I mean, that's what they bought
Um,
the MGM library
that's what
for.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And that is included in the Orion library. But Dances with Wolves is a big title. I'm surprised it hasn't gotten dropped in 4K yet, unless Kevin Costner is the holdup. That could very well be there.
Yeah, you've got a German import, and it is available for streaming in 4K, but yeah, I
Princess
haven't I
Bride, or
yeah, Princess Bride.
what about Dances with Wolves? I don't think that's available
I
anywhere
haven't
yet.
seen that anywhere, no.
No. So I'm trying to remember who did the last release of that. I think Shout did.
Mhm.
If not, they had a steelbook there, I know, for a while. But either regardless, I wouldn't get my hopes up. Anything
Mhm.
Fox or MGM right now is very yeesh.
Yep.
Disney even is kind of yeesh right now. Um, so yeah, I got the 4K import of Princess
Yeah,
Bride.
the German one,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, you can get it on Amazon for, like, I think, 40 euros.
I don't know if we'll ever
But
get the next Karate Kid in 4K. The only way we'll get the next Karate Kid in 4K is if they need the footage for Cobra Kai, and I think that's the only reason we kind of got this box
and
set
if they
now.
actually bring in Hilary Swank,
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
which they at this point, I'd
it's
bet on it.
plausible.
Yeah. I'd put some money
And
on
this
that.
is when I agree with Eclay on we need Johnny Dangerously even on Blu-ray, let alone
Yes.
anything else, for fuck's
Yes.
sake.
You fargan ice hole.
My mother
God.
hit me once. Once.
Once. Joe Piscopo.
Uh,
God, that was a great movie.
well, Jedi Master, this is a good question. Bill and Ted 1 already has a international release. I have that on 4K.
Mhm.
2 needs an upgrade bad. All the masters of that look like shit, and I know the
That's
movie
one of
looks
those I
better
was
than
kinda
that.
surprised that we didn't see that when they put the 3rd one out.
I don't know why. I mean, and then there's some question about the first movie because I have it on 4K. It looks good, but I don't know. I'm not sure if it's from the original negative or not. They may have lost the negative on that movie.
Mhm.
Um, I heard some rumors to that because the color on the 4K Blu-ray compared to the other releases of Bill and Ted are extremely different. Um, but the 4K release is the better of all of them. If you could import that, and I think you can get it pretty affordable still. At least it was for a while. 2 though, yeah, definitely needs an upgrade. Don't be fooled by the 4K digital version that's out there. It's just an upconvert
It
of
is.
probably the old 1080i.
Yeah, I have it. It doesn't look that good. I think I
It's
bought them in a
horrible.
2-pack because the copies that I had on physical didn't have a digital copy, and
Now, I
sometimes
don't know if the
I
digital
like
version of the
having
4K one might be the Studio Canal scan. I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
have it, so I can't compare.
I have to go back and look. I've got the digital copies of both.
Yeah. Austin Powers, always a possibility. Always them are big sellers.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 2-3 years
I was
we
gonna
get
say,
them.
aren't we right around? We got to be right around the 25th anniversary of the first one. The first one was
98, 99, somewhere in there.
yeah. So we're right on
Maybe
the cusp.
97. And oh no, yeah, it had to be 97, I think, because the second one came out the same time as Phantom Menace, and that was 99.
Austin Powers International Man of Mystery, 1997.
Told you.
Yep. So this is it. This is the 25th anniversary this year.
I haven't heard anything, but I wouldn't be surprised.
This is the year to do it.
And they should look good. There's no real
No,
all
they were
the
all done on
effects are mostly
film.
opticals and shit on
Practical
purpose.
Oh yeah,
Exactly. So
practical effects.
yeah.
What's the
Well, it's
effects? He
kinda
puts
like
a
a big
banana in
penis.
front of his dick and walks around.
Well,
I
all
mean,
that no, I don't think they have any CGI in any of those movies, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think.
I don't think so.
Outside of removing wires here and there, I don't think there's anything. Yeah.
Even Dr. Evil's, dick spaceship.
That's what I'm saying. It's all
It's a
practical
model.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like old school ILM shit, which is I think one of the reasons why it was so good.
I think
You
the
know,
third one is the closest one that might have some CGI. I think the only thing CGI in the first two movies is Dr. Evil's lair. I think it's the only thing that's CGI from recollection.
was it?
I think so. Because it
Oh, you mean
looks
the outside of it?
Yeah, the outside
Yeah,
layer.
it was always it was a total digital painting.
Yeah,
But it was
yeah.
a still. It wasn't
Yeah, I
wasn't
think you're
really
right.
moving. So I don't there's no reason they would have had to have done that like in 2K. They could upscale that as much as they
Oh,
want because I don't think there's
this
any
reminds me.
motion.
I totally spaced out a title earlier. Holy shit. Vinegar Syndrome has Dead Heat coming in 4K, an oddball one for them.
Hmm.
I don't know if you're aware of this movie, but it's kind of like a Ghostbusters meets. God, it's an oddball film from the 80s. I vaguely remember it. I did pre-order it.
Don't know that one.
It's got,
You said Heat earlier, not Dead Heat, right?
yeah, no, we're still
Okay.
waiting on Heat because there's a 4K
Yeah.
master. It was supposed to be released, I think, even before Disney bought Fox.
Mhm.
And then for some reason, it's just been sitting in limbo for some reason. I don't know what the cause of it is.
I'll probably pre-order. I mean, I love that movie.
Yeah,
I
like
mean, the
everybody's been
Blu-ray looks
waiting on it.
beautiful, but I really want to see
Well, I
that
think
get.
that more recent Blu-ray comes from the 4K master.
It does. My
So
understanding.
that's my
the one I
point.
have.
Like,
Because I had the original one, and then I bought it again when the new version came out, and just same thing I did with Total Recall. Because I love the movie, I'll buy the copy,
yeah,
but you put them side by side, it's like holy shit, it's no contest.
it's like a ghost detective. Sorry, not director.
Mhm.
Joe Pescopo's in it. Yep, that
Mhm.
one. Yep, that's
Okay.
the one. Yeah, it's an interesting film. I vaguely remember it. We all want Terminator on 4K. I think I heard there is a 4K master of that one too, but I swear that's one that
They probably have them all done,
I don't
waiting,
think
like you
James has
said.
to sign off on that one though, because I know there's at least I
We
know
know he has
all
to
his
do it in the
early
second one,
films,
The
like
Abyss, True Lies,
all those he has final say on. I think
even
everything after
Titanic, right?
Terminator,
We haven't got
or
Titanic.
Aliens. Aliens, I think, is the first one he does.
So that was 86.
Yeah, I don't think he does Terminator though, because they released Terminator several times, I think, without his blessing. But I think MGM's just been sitting on the 4K master because they can't afford to release 4K shit. But I can't believe somebody hasn't picked up on that, unless he does have the right. He might have say over that retroactively. I don't know. That could very well be, but I could have swore there was a 4K master of that out there. I heard that a while ago. That's had a master for a while. There's two movies called Dead Heat. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, we're talking about the one with Joe Pescopo. Yes. Taker 610 says, finally got my LG 4K projector, LG 4K Blu-ray player, and Lord of the Rings Middle Earth Ultimate Edition. Tell me it's good. I've heard mixed reviews. I know The Hobbit looks pretty good because it was shot and processed and all that business in native 4K.
Blu-ray.com loved the 4K
Yeah,
releases of
now
The
the
Hobbit.
Lord of the
5 out of 5.
Rings, there's ups and downs. I've heard
I
it looks
thought they
pretty
both
good,
looked great. I really
but
do. Now, definitely The Hobbit Hobbit looked good,
yeah, but the thing with
but
the Lord of the Rings though is I guess Peter got a little happy with the DNR like he did on Get Back, and there was some bits that were a little fudged, and then there's some he just took some liberties and kind of pulled a George Lucas on a couple of scenes too, I guess. Not to that extent, but I guess he changed the color timing and a few little minor things here and there. So, I mean, unless you're an avid viewer of the films and seen them a billion times, you're probably not going to notice, kind of thing. But for the most part, from what I've seen of what I previewed of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, it looks pretty decent. But I've heard, yeah, the same thing that Valiant said is that The Hobbit is the superior as far as the 4K presentation because it was shot natively at what, 6K?
I don't know if they did
I think it was
6, but I
5 or
mean,
6 on the red
but that
cameras,
that
wasn't
movie
it?
was finished at a very I mean, processed and finished at a very high
Yeah.
resolution. I mean, they went balls to the wall because that's the one PJ decided to, hey, let's do 48 frames a second. I mean, they kind of
I thought
they
it was
fixed
60 or whatever, but yeah,
it
you're
was
right. Maybe
48. No,
48.
he
Yeah.
doubled the 24 timing. So he did 48 so he could up the shutter
Yeah.
speed to try to make each frame capture sharper with a little bit less motion blur, and it kind of looked wonky. And now they went
Yeah.
back and they washed that out at the end of it. But yeah, I thought I think the Blu-ray looks very nice, and I think the Blu-rays for LOTR, yeah, I've seen some of the stuff where you have some fine details get smudged out here and there, but overall, it looks
Yeah,
to
the
me,
stuff
I'm
that I
very pleased.
noticed that was shot on straight film and you're getting the straight film scan from the negative, oh, you can tell.
Mhm,
And it looks brilliant. Like, I know,
mhm.
like, those opening shots in Hobbiton are just beautiful.
Oh, it's the colors just
You
it's
pop. The
explode.
green just pops right off the screen, like,
Yeah.
but now when you get to some of the darker CGI scenes, especially in, like, the caverns and stuff, I can
The
imagine.
Balrog, but I mean,
Yeah,
even that, the thing with that scene is the HDR10 grading, the Dolby Vision and all that that they put on there, that makes up for a lot of issues because you have so much shadow detail in there that gets lifted out. The bit rate, vary, honestly. I mean,
that's
if
why I
you
brought this up. Very good question and a very
Yep.
important one, yes.
Yeah, bit rate's very important because you can take a 4K movie and say, "Yes, it's in 4K. Yes, it's got
Starve the
HDR10
hell out
Dolby
of it,
Vision."
though, and it looks like shit.
Yeah, but hey, it's 3.5 hours long, and I wanna cram it on 1 disc. You're gonna have to shrink the bit rate to the point where the delivery is not gonna be any better, or in some cases could be lesser
Yeah.
than a stream, like if you're live streaming it. That and speaking of bit rate, this is also why, to Peter Jackson's credit, especially with the extended editions, I mean, some of these things go 4 hours long. This is why they're on 2 discs, even the Blu-ray sets, because one of 2 things had to happen. Either you have to compress the bit rate so much to where it gets ugly just to fit it on 1 disc, or you spend the extra time, the extra money, you leave the bit rate at a higher level, and you let it go on the disc and they use a
Let it
variable bit
breathe,
rate.
yeah.
Yeah, let it breathe, as it were.
Well, I've seen, like, 2 different ones. I've seen, like, ones where they just run at a much higher rate. Then
Mhm.
there's one that's a more of a variable. I mean, they all seem variable, don't get me wrong. But,
They're
like,
all
yeah,
encoded with variable bit rates.
yeah, that's
Nobody
what I'm
really uses
saying, yeah.
CBR, constant bit rate, but you will like, you'll notice it, like, okay, if you're and you most Blu-ray players, folks out there, you can do this. In fact, I've got my remote right here for my Uppo UDP-205, which is my reference player. So all these remotes basically have a button, if I can find it on here real quick. It's in oh, here we go, right here. Info. So when you hit that info switch on your remote, you're going to pull up a grid on your screen. It's going to give you chapter, all this kind of information. It's in Dolby, it's in 4K, 2160, and then you'll see a number that's constantly moving, and that's the variable bit rate. So you can see right there, frame by frame, or
Most of them
scene
have
by
it,
scene.
yeah.
Yeah, you can see the bit rate that you're getting, and you can tell the difference between a high bit rate disc and a low bit rate disc, especially in darker scenes. When you have darker
Darker or
scenes,
fast-moving scenes, yeah.
yeah, darker scenes with low bit rates, you're gonna see a lot of block noise and nasty looking shit, versus
You'll
a
notice
smooth
this on when you buy,
grade.
like, a set where they'll cram, like, a bunch of movies on a disc.
Mhm.
Those cheap, like, Mill Creek and some of those other brands where they'll just cram on a like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, they look really bad, and yeah, Bam Bam Bigelow, that's what this show is all about.
Mhm.
Some nerdy porn.
I'm still sitting here waiting for Revenge of the Nerds. That's my pick.
You'll be
You
waiting for a
you
while. I
can't
think they're
even I
trying to
know
bury that movie. I
you
really
can't even
do.
get it on digital.
I
You
think they're
can't
trying to
get it
bury it.
digitally. Why?
I think they're embarrassed by it. I think they don't want it out there. I think they are trying to, like, the only time it's only been released on Blu-ray once through Fox.
I have it.
And I think the only reason HBO Max still had it on for a while is I think they had a contract for that movie till the end of time, because I swear that movie was on HBO all the fucking time when I was growing up.
Yep.
And that's the only place you can really find it. At least that was the only place. I don't even know if it's still on HBO Max.
Mhm.
But yeah, Disney owns it now, so they're not going to fucking let that movie out there. But ironically, you can buy the second, third, and fourth films digitally.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's 2, 3, and 4 are all out there.
Which is
And
funny
which
because
is
there's probably more shit in part 2 that is racist and shit.
I don't even
But
think there was really that in the first
there's a little
movie.
bit of racist shit in the second one. The first one, no, I can tell you why. There's 2 reasons why that first
I
one is
think I
blocked.
know, but
One is the panty raid scene.
yeah.
2
But
is the walk on the moon scene.
yeah, that's the one I was
Those are
thinking
the
of.
2 reasons that movie will never see the light of day again, probably, without some massive fucking, like, big deal to do about it.
Well, because they think
I've
it's,
been putting this out there. I've been saying it for the last year and a half or so now. I think Disney is trying to bury that movie like it doesn't exist.
I really, God. Well, I'm glad I have the Blu-ray of it. Let's just say that. I'm gonna
See,
have to
I don't know
cherish
if I'd
that
even
one.
call it an R scene, Monsieur. I'm not even going to bring that up on screen because you say the word, but like, I don't know. That's stretching it.
Dolphin love.
I don't even call that because it's not like they don't do anything physically active until after he takes the mask off. It's
Right.
just something being done to her. So
Mhm.
like,
And she enjoyed it.
it's not like she's married.
No,
It was the 80s. It was casual.
it was college.
It was college, exactly. Ironcaster, as much as I'd love to get Police Academy on 4K, I think the odds of that are so slim because we still ain't even got a US Blu-ray release. You got to import that bitch.
The only way I had Police Academy, I bought it for $19.99 or $24.99 digitally for the first 6 movies in a package.
And you only didn't even get 7?
No.
They didn't even throw you the bone of the bad one?
Which one was that?
Moscow one.
It might be on there. I
I was
just
gonna
never watched
say,
it.
yeah.
Oh wait, it is on there. I started
Okay.
watching it and I turned it off.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah. I turned it off.
And which
1,
is
2,
funny
3,
because
and
I think
4
that's
for
one of the
me.
most expensive ones too, which is funny. Of all the
Well,
movies, I think it had the highest budget.
well, I mean, Tom, when did they made that, what, 20 years after the first?
Well, 10 years, I
So,
think it was, but still, like, even comparatively, because the 6th one had the biggest budget before that, I think. But of course, it's all
City
because they
Under
went to
Siege.
Moscow to shoot it. That's why.
Yeah, the location stuff.
Dan, I think there's a 4K master of it, but I just Paramount is one of those, they are fickle as fuck when it comes to unless somebody buys Paramount in the next few years, I don't know. Because I think that new Blu-ray releases from a 4K master, it sure does look like it, but it's not available in 4K in any way, shape, or form anywhere that I know of. And I know overseas that movie has a bunch of legal issues. Same thing with a couple other movies from that period when Disney did a bunch of movies, because Disney actually owns part of that movie, believe it or not, but it's only internationally. Paramount owns it in the US.
Stranger things have happened.
It's kind of like it's like the reverse of the not Last Starfighter, the Flight of the Navigator. Disney owns the rights in the US, but not outside of the US. PSI
Yep.
or whatever owns it outside of the US. So yeah. Go figure on that one. Dragon Slayer is another one. Yep. That's another reason why I think that one hasn't got any decent releases yet. But I think I've heard some rumblings on that one. That might have just been people talking about it too. I can't remember now. But
Well, my best advice would be to stay tuned here every Wednesday. Keep coming
that's
back.
right. That's a good
You
way to
know.
segue
Yeah.
into what is probably going to be our ending. Yeah, I want to thank everybody for making this another success. I wasn't so sure people were going to show up today, considering, but there's over 300 of you still watching. Hit that like button, please.
Yeah, please do. Make sure you hit the like on the way out the door.
Yeah, and Ironcaster, that's coming soon. We talked about that last week.
Mm-hmm.
Dragonheart's one that could be a possibility, but that's one I'm curious how the CGI is going to look in it.
You know, I think the last version of that I have is actually on CAV Laserdisc.
This one might be a
That
good
never
question
came out
for
on
you.
Blu-ray. What is better, direct lit versus full array local dimming? Okay, edge lit would be the least of the bunch. Local dimming, direct lit. Okay, local area dimming is then your next step up. You've kind of gone in perfect order.
Yep,
This is where you
my
have
understanding. Yeah,
a backlight that lights an area of pixels. Direct lit is the pixel itself is its own independent light source. This is why the LG OLED panels are really absolutely the best thing for the money, bar none. Because the way OLED works is exactly that. It's each pixel is its own independent source of light and can be turned on or off. All 8.8 million pixels on the screen, because 4K is 8.8 megapixels. All 8.8 million pixels on the screen can be independently turned on and off of each other. So that's why you have the highest dynamic range. Dolby Vision HDR10 looks the best on that kind of stuff because those type of panels can take advantage of it. One of the reasons why everything in LG's line, at least until more recently, they started using stuff on the lower end to be a little bit more cost effective, because LG is one of the few companies out there that actually is an originator of their own panels. Most companies out there, like, they're sourcing panels elsewhere. So that's part of it. But like, if you look at most of the Sony sets out there, the Sony sets use either micro LED, or they use local dimming, or they use some sort. But if you go into their really upscale XBR line, they're all OLED panels. Like the
Yeah.
$5,000 60-inch Sony set, shit like that. They're using all OLED, but you can get that OLED panel in a $1,200, $1,500 LG set, and they look spectacular.
See, and the funny thing is, I see like Hisense and some of these lesser companies
Mhm.
are putting out like 8K TVs now, but
Mhm.
basically they're just as good as some of the better 4K TVs. Basically,
Yeah.
they're utilizing the 8K technology to simulate
Yeah,
higher end
because 'cause they're still
4K
using
TVs.
inferior panels. I
Yeah,
mean, it's like, yeah, okay, we got more megapixels up in this bitch, but they
but
suck.
they use the
Eh,
dimming areas like you were just talking about, where I can't remember
yeah.
the actual term you use, but like where
Local
only
dimming.
certain local
Yeah.
dimming. Thank you. It's
Yep.
got local dimming and stuff on it, so it's like it looks a lot like the higher end 4K
Mhm.
models, but it's just. But of course, there's nothing in 8K to watch on it right now. There's nothing out there, so you
No.
can't really compare it. So,
No.
Mikey asks, "Is Back to the Future on 4K good?" Yeah, looks really
Yeah.
good from the original
Excellent
negatives.
transfer.
So excellent
Yep.
transfer. Most of it's practical and in camera. So yeah, you can't go wrong with that release. And then the other question I saw here that was a good one was what's going on with Army of Darkness. I did hear a while back there is either a 4K master or they're working on one, but I think the big question at the time was I think Universal wanted to release it on their own as like a bare bones, like they did with the Thing and shit like that first, and then like Scream was wanting to get their hands on it, and see, because that one's an oddball one in the bunch, but I do know it's supposed to be coming at some point, and I would not be surprised in one way, shape, or form if either Scream Factory or Universal does release it. So there you go. Uncle Remus, this is one that is like a no-brainer, but Disney probably won't for some dumb reason. Don't know why.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't even think that What Dreams May Come has actually been released in high def.
I don't think that's
I
been
don't think it
around
has.
since DVD.
Yeah, that's. I'm surprised that wasn't one that one of the boutiques hasn't picked up yet. So yeah, I think we're gonna wrap things up here then. Was there anything else anybody wanted to ask us real quick before we go? Because we're gonna shut her down. How about
Yep.
Boondock Saints? I thought I heard something about Boondock Saints. Did we mention them at all? I thought maybe they might be coming at some point here.
It kinda sounded a little bit familiar, and I'm trying to rack my brain for it.
I think that was one that's in conversation. So stay tuned for that. I'm sure when we get some solid news on that. I think
Mhm.
that's one that's been talked about though.
Yeah.
And I
Look, there's
see,
there's a lot of stuff. We're gonna see this all these movies,
yeah,
from the film era, especially from, 1990 on back. We're gonna see a slow, steady trickle out, I think, of these things in the next few years, because the bottom line is all these things are gonna have to get scanned because film doesn't physically last forever. We've seen this too many times. We've talked about it ad nauseum on this show with certain movies. The original negatives don't exist anymore. They deteriorated. Some of them have burned in fires. Some of them have been stored in units where the climate control system went batshit,
they're
and they
just
opened the door.
lost.
Yeah, or they open a door one day and they go in, and the film has all degraded, because film is it's a strip of chemicals, and those chemicals corrode and decay over time and destroy
Yeah,
what's there. So all these studios, if they want to preserve these things, they have to start, they have to be going back through these libraries and at least running these things through a scanner at this point. They might not be finishing them, but they're archiving. They're scanning the negatives and getting a raw file to work with so that at some point somebody's going to sit down, and it's usually it's going to be a colorist that's going to have to sit there and regrade these films and do all this kind of work and cleanup work and specialists, and that's what costs the money.
Well,
So
and luckily, the only good thing that's going to come out of a lot of these streaming services is they need content.
yeah,
And as technology keeps advancing, people are going to want more and more 4K content. And a lot of times they amortize the cost of doing these scans because they're not cheap at all. They're very expensive scans to do
Amazon
these.
just buying MGM like we were talking
Yeah,
about.
so like
They're
they'll
about to go in a
amortize it by
scanning
doing.
frenzy.
Yeah, maybe we will get a bunch of releases.
Mhm,
Maybe Amazon will start their own video company for all we know.
mhm.
Because sometimes that's how they amortize the cost of these scans. But Adventures of Ford Fairline, that's under Disney now. I would not expect. I'm surprised we got the releases we got of that. I think that's only got
Yeah.
a DVD release at this point. I think.
Mhm.
Weekend at Bernie's, another one that I think Fox and MGM co-own. That's on Blu-ray, but that's one I could see like one of the boutique companies getting their hands on. Weekend at Bernie's, 'cause I think that's under MGM's control. So I could see that at some point, unless Amazon decides to vault all that shit up for their streaming. Dick Trace, that would be a great one for
That
4K.
would look beautiful. The way, I mean, the way they specifically built the color in that film around the old comic strips. They
All I
only
can
used like
tell
4
you,
colors in that whole movie.
if you want that movie, if it is on Disney Plus, if you're not doing anything, just set your TV to keep playing that fucking movie on Disney Plus over and over and over again, and tell your friends the same thing. Because I'll be honest with you, I think that's how they're gauging some of these releases.
Could
Because
be.
when we got like Hocus Pocus and some of those, like it felt like we got those releases because they were probably popular on Disney Plus and
Mhm.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit and stuff like that. I feel like that's the only reason we got them. Uh,
Perhaps
so
so.
so I wouldn't be surprised. And I know there's a few 4K masters floating around in the Fox vault or whatever you want to call it, like the Sandlot and a few other ones that I would not be surprised if Disney releases anytime soon.
Mhm.
Mrs. Doubtfire is another one. So I would not be surprised if we hear about those sometime soon.
Doubtfire, I think, will happen because, I mean,
Yeah.
that's an active Broadway show right now.
Well, there's that aspect to it too, but
Yeah.
it's always been an
Actually,
evergreen.
I'm
I
surprised they
think
haven't
it's
done it
Robin
already.
Williams' most biggest film of all time, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah, I would, yeah, probably so. I can't think of anything else that would,
I don't think he's had anything bigger if you don't count Aladdin anyway.
well, that's not really Robin
Yeah,
Williams.
exactly. It's a yeah.
So,
So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see those two Fox title. Like I think Disney's gonna be very picky and choosy on that part. So
mhm.
yeah.
Yep.
The Expandable? What
Oh, Expendables.
oh the Expendables.
Mhm.
The Expendables has 4K
That's
releases.
as far as I
I got the
know.
4K trilogy, yeah.
Yeah.
Jumanji has a 4K release already.
They do. The Jumanji 4K, and
Yeah.
we're talking about the original
Yeah.
Jumanji. That looks beautiful. That is a spectacular 4K transfer.
Outside of the CGI, yeah, I remember it looking really
Yep.
good.
Mhm. So, but I do have to run.
Yeah,
I know
we're
we've
gonna
been
wrap
talking
this up
for a
here.
bit,
Thanks
so
so much, kids. We appreciate
mhm,
it. Until next time,
mhm.
take care and throw all your suggestions and questions in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them when I can. Good night, kids.